Hey there, this is Michelle. I'm popping in really quick with an update about the Midlife Repurposed podcast and the blog posts on Substack. You've maybe noticed I haven't been on here as often as I usually am, so I thought it was time for me to give you a quick update about kind of where I'm thinking of going with the podcast in the future. If you've been a faithful listener and wondering where those are, this will give you some answers. So come on in. It's a really quick update from me. Welcome to Midlife Repurposed. If you're craving inspiration, practical tips, and a renewed sense of purpose, you're in the right place. Here, we embrace the messy, uncertain, and sometimes downright challenging turns of midlife with a dose of humor and an unwavering belief that there's treasure to be found even in the tough stuff. I'm your host, Michelle Rayburn, an author who's passionate about uncovering hope in the most unexpected places. Let's repurpose this season of life together. Hey, thanks for checking out my update. This is Michelle. I just wanted to let you know where I'm at with my thought process. I turned on the microphone. I don't even know what I'm going to say. I didn't write anything down. So I know that sounds super disorganized, but that's okay. Because right now I just want to invite you into my studio and sit here at my desk where I'm sitting behind the microphone. So what's been going on in my life lately is that I have a lot of irons in the fire. I have a lot of things going in my career work and my own writing, and then also the things that I have been brainstorming and dreaming about. And one of the things that I've decided I don't want to do for the Midlife Repurposed podcast is to continue with the guest interviews that I've been doing for quite a while, in the sense that I don't want guest interviews to be just picking up people who are on a book tour and releasing a brand new book and then talking about it. That's been really wonderful, and I've really loved getting to know so many authors. I've enjoyed bringing their content to you, but I also think it's a time for something different. For me, the scheduling and doing some of that was becoming harder to fit into my own schedule, but also I've been just leaning into wanting more thoughtful and meaningful conversations, really wanting to pick up a topic and talk deeply about it. I don't know, maybe that sounds super intellectual. That's not even what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking more of like thoughtfully processing what's happening around us and how we're walking through that. So not a rant, not really superficial, but meaningful conversations. And I haven't really figured out yet a way for that to happen logistically. I know that there's a lot of content out there. There are a lot of people producing content. And so I don't want to just throw something out there. I want it to be meaningful. I want to have thought about it, thought about the voices that I invite behind the microphone. So for right now, what you're going to get if a podcast episode shows up in your app is a voiceover of a blog post that I've been putting up recently. So I'm still posting my thoughts on Substack. I'm still processing through life there. The midlife topics are endless because here we are in the middle of it. I'm actually postmenopausal, so there are some times where some of the things I cover are more in that range. And maybe you're a listener who says, that's not really midlife anymore. Well, to me it is. I feel like a young grandma. And so to me, I'm still in midlife at 56 years old. But I don't know where that border is. I don't know when the cutoff is for when midlife becomes old life. I don't know. I think I'm just going to stay in midlife forever. If you prefer to read content, then I encourage you to sign up on Substack. Everything's always free on there. There is no donate button or anything on there. If I've mentioned it in past episodes, it's not there anymore. I took away the paywall. So on Midlife Repurposed, I'm blogging and sharing other people's content and interacting and really feeling like a community there. So if you love to read written content, that's the place for you. If you're on the go and you think occasionally you'd like to just hear something in your earbuds, maybe listening in your car, then that's what the Midlife Repurposed podcast is for. You aren't going to find something overly produced or too fancy. But it is my commitment to those of you who love to just pick up a quick audio, maybe a pick-me-up. So you'll see episodes pop up occasionally. I won't even promise how often, because there's some weeks I'm silent because I don't have anything to say. There's some weeks that maybe it's the news that's just so overwhelming, I don't even know how to process it. And so silence is the way I respond. Other weeks I feel prolific and I have way too much to say and nobody cares about most of it. And so as I sort through all of that, if something shows up and it's ready for your earbuds, it means that I wanted my community to hear what was going on in my head. I want to thank you for being a faithful listener. This is actually the month of the birthday of Midlife Repurposed. It started out as the Life Repurposed podcast, and then I transitioned into calling it Midlife Repurposed as my life changed and some of the content I was producing changed as well. And here we are. So happy birthday to the podcast. It has been here since 2018. So that means that it has been 8 years that this podcast has been around. And I remember there weren't as many podcasts out there when I started podcasting, that's for sure. I also remember just deciding to go for it and blaze a trail. I didn't know what I was doing. My equipment consisted of an iPhone and a tripod, and I just sat down and recorded video, and then I stripped the audio out of that and put it out as a podcast episode. So if you were around then, you probably know why I took down some of that content, because it either wasn't relevant or later I was like, what was I thinking? So some of those early episodes are not there. The last 8 years have actually been a real change for me as well. There have been so many pivots in what God is doing in my life, and there have been a lot of changes in my thinking, and that has been part of the journey too, of God leading me to a place where I was less tied to rules and really more focused on what following Christ looks like, what it means when he says to abide in him. And that means stripping away some of the things that have been part of my life, like following rules or goodness as a means to earn God's approval. And it's just been a journey. So it's been a lifelong journey, really. But the last 10 years has been where I'm seeing the most fruit from that. And you've been part of that journey as a listener as well. So I want to thank you. Thank you for being here. I said this was going to be short, so I'm not going to say anything more, but that's my update. That's where we're going with the Midlife Repurposed podcast. I have other content on Substack as well. So if you're looking for more, just look for Michelle Rayburn on Substack, and then you'll see the other stuff that I'm producing. I'm trying to keep my topics a little bit separated because people in midlife don't really care to hear about things like how to write a book, for example. So there are a couple of different things there. So please look for me on Substack. I'm connecting the most there right now because I love to read the thoughtful things people are producing. Thanks for tuning in to Midlife Repurposed. Looking for more inspiration and connection? Dive into Midlife Repurposed on Substack, where you'll find resources, weekly reflections, and a community of like-minded women. Visit midliferepurpose.com to join the conversation and keep the journey going.